As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden glow over her small garden, Margaret sat on her porch with a cup of tea in hand. The gentle hum of the evening breeze rustled through the trees, and the distant chirping of birds signaled the end of another day. At 72, Margaret had grown to cherish these quiet moments of solitude. They were not moments of loneliness, but rather moments of profound peace and reflection. She had learned to navigate the complexities of friendship in later life, finding joy in both connection and solitude. Margaret's journey to this place of contentment had not been easy. Like many, she had spent much of her life surrounded by people, family, friends, colleagues. But as the years passed, the dynamics of her relationships began to shift. Friends moved away, some passed on, and others simply drifted apart. The bustling social life she once knew had gradually quieted, leaving her with more time to herself. At first, the silence felt unsettling, even intimidating. But over time, she discovered that solitude could be a gift, not a burden. The changing landscape of friendship. In her younger years, Margaret's friendships were often defined by shared experiences, raising children, building careers, and navigating the ups and downs of life. These bonds were strong, forged in the fires of mutual support and understanding. But as she entered her later years, Margaret noticed that the nature of her friendships began to change. Some friends became less active due to health issues, while others moved to be closer to their adult children. The once frequent gatherings became rare, and the phone calls grew fewer and farther between. At first, Margaret felt a sense of loss. She missed the laughter, the shared stories, and the comfort of knowing she had a close-knit circle to rely on. But as she adjusted to her new reality, she began to see the beauty in the friendships that remained. These were the friendships that had stood the test of time, the ones that didn't require constant maintenance, but thrived on mutual respect and understanding. She learned to appreciate the occasional phone call, the handwritten letter, or the rare but cherished visit. The gift of solitude. As her social circle narrowed, Margaret discovered an unexpected joy in solitude. She found that being alone didn't have to mean being lonely. In fact, it gave her the space to reconnect with herself, to explore her interests, reflect on her life, and find peace in the present moment. She took up gardening, something she had always wanted to do but never had the time for. She joined a book club at her local library, where she met new people who shared her love of literature. She even started writing her memoirs, a project that brought her immense satisfaction. Solitude also allowed Margaret to appreciate the beauty of the world around her. She took long walks in the park, savoring the sights and sounds of nature. She spent hours watching the birds that visited her garden, marveling at their colors and songs. These simple pleasures brought her a sense of fulfillment that she hadn't experienced in years. Navigating new friendships. While Margaret cherished her solitude, she also recognized the importance of staying connected. She understood that human beings are inherently social creatures, and that meaningful relationships are essential for emotional well-being. But in later life, making new friends required a different approach. It wasn't about building a large social circle, but rather cultivating deep and meaningful connections. Margaret found that joining community groups and participating in activities she enjoyed were great ways to meet like-minded people. She volunteered at a local charity, where she met others who shared her passion for giving back. She attended workshops and classes, where she learned new skills and formed bonds with fellow learners. These new friendships were different from the ones she had in her younger years. They were less about shared history and more about shared interests and values. Margaret also embraced technology as a way to stay connected. She learned to use social media to keep in touch with old friends and family members who lived far away. She joined online forums and groups where she could discuss her hobbies and interests with people from all over the world. While these virtual connections were no substitute for face-to-face interaction, they provided a sense of community and belonging that enriched her life. The balance of connection and solitude. For Margaret, the key to living joyfully alone was finding the right balance between connection and solitude. She understood that both were essential for a fulfilling life. Solitude gave her the space to reflect, recharge, and pursue her passions, while connection provided her with a sense of belonging and support. She also learned to be comfortable with the ebb and flow of friendships. Some days, she felt content spending time by herself, while other days, she craved the company of others. She no longer felt pressured to maintain a busy social calendar or to have a large group of friends. Instead, she focused on nurturing the relationships that brought her joy and letting go of those that no longer served her. A lesson in gratitude. As Margaret reflected on her journey, she felt a deep sense of gratitude. She was grateful for the friendships that had enriched her life, both past and present. She was grateful for the solitude that had allowed her to discover new passions and find peace within herself. And she was grateful for the wisdom that came with age, the understanding that life is not about the quantity of relationships, but the quality. Margaret's story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. It shows that even in the face of change and loss, it is possible to find joy and fulfillment. By embracing both solitude and connection, she had created a life that was rich, meaningful, and uniquely her own. As the last rays of sunlight disappeared and the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Margaret smiled to herself. She knew that the years ahead would bring their own challenges and changes, but she was ready to face them with an open heart and a spirit of curiosity. For her, the joy of solitude was not about being alone. It was about being at peace with herself and the world around her. And in that peace, she had found true happiness.